She thought she was getting the deal of a lifetime. A beautiful vintage table for just $20 at her sweet neighbor's garage sale. But when Lisa started restoring it, she discovered a secret compartment containing millions of dollars in diamonds, and a desperate note that made her blood run cold. "If they kill me, these belong to David." Now Lisa had to figure out who David was, who they were, and why her innocent-looking neighbor had been hiding stolen diamonds all along. Welcome to Untold Legends, where we uncover the extraordinary secrets hidden in ordinary places. Today's story will make you think twice about that friendly neighbor next door. The autumn sun cast long shadows across Maple Street in the quiet suburb of Riverside, Ohio. Lisa Martinez had been hunting for vintage furniture all weekend, driving from one garage sale to another with nothing but overpriced junk to show for it. But as she turned the corner onto Elm Avenue, she spotted something that made her heart race. Mrs. Dorothy Williams, her sweet 78-year-old neighbor, was having a garage sale. Dorothy lived in the beautiful Victorian house next door and always waved from her garden, but they'd never really talked beyond pleasantries. Lisa parked her Honda Civic and walked up the driveway, immediately spotting a gorgeous 1940s dining table sitting under a maple tree. The wood was scratched and the finish was worn, but Lisa could see the quality craftsmanship underneath. She'd been refinishing furniture as a hobby for 3 years, and this piece was exactly what she'd been looking for. "How much for the table?" Lisa asked, trying to contain her excitement. Dorothy looked up from organizing some old books. She was a tiny woman with silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, wearing a lavender cardigan and sensible shoes. Everything about her screamed, "harmless grandmother." "Oh, that old thing?" Dorothy said with a dismissive wave. "My late husband Harold bought it at an estate sale decades ago. I never liked it. $20 and it's yours, dear." Lisa's heart jumped. $20? The table was easily worth 10 times that, even in its current condition. "Are you sure?" "That seems too low," Lisa said, though she was already reaching for her wallet. "Nonsense." Dorothy smiled warmly. "I'm just happy to see it go to someone who'll appreciate it. Harold always said it had good bones. I never knew what he meant by that." As Lisa handed over the $20 bill, she noticed Dorothy's hands were shaking slightly. "Probably just age," she thought. "I'll come back with my truck to pick it up this afternoon if that's okay." "Of course, dear. Take your time." 3 hours later, Lisa and her boyfriend Marcus loaded the table into his pickup truck. Dorothy watched from her porch, clutching a cup of tea, her eyes never leaving the table until it disappeared into Lisa's garage. "That lady seems nervous about something," Marcus observed as they drove away. "She's probably just sad to see Harold's things go," Lisa replied. "I can't believe she only wanted $20 for this. It's going to be gorgeous when I'm done with it." Little did Lisa know, Dorothy Williams wasn't sad about the table leaving. She was terrified. The next Saturday morning, Lisa set up her workspace in the garage. She'd been refinishing furniture for years, but this table felt special. The craftsmanship was extraordinary. Whoever made it was a true artist. She started by removing the old hardware and cleaning decades of grime from the wood. As she worked, she noticed something odd. The table was heavier than it should be, even for solid wood. Much heavier. "Weird," she muttered, running her hands along the edges. Marcus stopped by around noon with sandwiches. "How's the project going?" "Great, but this thing weighs a ton. Help me flip it over? I want to see the underside." Together, they carefully turned the table upside down. That's when Lisa saw it. a barely visible seam running along one of the support beams. It was so well hidden that someone would have to be looking for it to notice. "Marcus, look at this." She traced the line with her finger. "This looks like a secret compartment?" Marcus leaned closer. "No way. Really?" Lisa grabbed a thin putty knife and gently probed the seam. After several minutes of careful work, she heard a soft click. A section of the wood swung open on hidden hinges, revealing a cavity about the size of a shoebox. "Holy shit," Marcus whispered. Inside the hidden compartment was a black velvet pouch and a folded piece of paper. Lisa's hands trembled as she reached for them. The pouch was heavy and made a soft, rattling sound. She loosened the drawstring and gasped. Dozens of diamonds spilled into her palm, some as large as her thumbnail, all cut and polished to perfection, catching the afternoon light like captured stars. "Lisa," Marcus's voice was barely audible. "Are those real?" She picked up the piece of paper with shaking hands and unfolded it. The message was written in blue ink, in a man's handwriting. "If they find me, if they kill me, these belong to David Thompson. Tell him Samantha kept her promise. The rest of the truth is in the safety deposit box, First National Bank, key taped under the kitchen sink. Trust no one else. H.W." The paper was dated March 15th, 1987, 36 years ago. Lisa looked at Marcus, her face pale. H.W. Harold Williams, Dorothy's husband. Jesus Christ, Lisa. What did we just find? Before Lisa could answer, they heard footsteps on the driveway. Through the garage window, they could see Dorothy Williams walking toward them, no longer looking like a harmless grandmother. Her eyes were cold, calculating, and she was holding something in her right hand. Lisa quickly shoved the diamonds back into the pouch and slipped both it and the note into her jacket pocket. "Hello, dear," Dorothy called out sweetly, but her voice had an edge to it. "I was just wondering how the table restoration was coming along." "Oh, hi, Mrs. Williams," Lisa said, trying to sound casual while her heart hammered against her ribs. "It's going great. The wood quality is amazing." Dorothy stepped into the garage and Lisa noticed what she was holding, a small spray bottle filled with clear liquid. "I'm so glad you're taking good care of it," Dorothy said, her eyes scanning the garage. "Harold was very particular about that table. He spent so much time working on it, especially toward the end." "The end?" Marcus asked. "Before he died, of course." Dorothy's smile never wavered, but her knuckles were white around the spray bottle. "Heart attack, very sudden. He was only 58. Lisa did quick math in her head. If Harold died in 1987 and was 58, Dorothy would have been much younger then, maybe in her 40s. The frail elderly woman act was just that, an act. "Mrs. Williams," Lisa said carefully, "did Harold ever mention anyone named David Thompson?" The temperature in the garage seemed to drop 10 degrees. Dorothy's friendly mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something predatory underneath. "Why would you ask that, dear?" "Oh, no reason. Just, when I was cleaning the table, I found some old papers with that name on them. Thought they might be important." Dorothy took a step closer. "What kind of papers?" Lisa forced herself to shrug. "Just some old receipts or something. I threw them away." "That's too bad," Dorothy said, her voice taking on a different tone entirely. "You see, David Thompson was someone Harold knew a very long time ago. Someone who caused our family a great deal of trouble." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Maybe we should let you get back to your afternoon, Mrs. Williams." "In a moment," Dorothy said, not taking her eyes off Lisa. You know, that table has been in my family for so long, I've grown quite sentimental about it. I was thinking, perhaps I made a mistake selling it. Would you consider selling it back to me? For a good profit, of course. That's really nice of you, Lisa said, but I've already started the restoration. I'd hate to stop now. Dorothy's grip tightened on the spray bottle. I insist. $500. Cash. The desperation in her voice was barely concealed. This wasn't about sentiment. Dorothy knew about the hidden compartment. I appreciate the offer, but $1,000. Dorothy's voice was sharp now. Final offer. Marcus stepped protectively closer to Lisa. The lady said no, Mrs. Williams. Dorothy studied them both for a long moment, then smiled that grandmother smile again. Of course. How silly of me. Well, I should get back to my gardening. Enjoy the table, dear. She turned and walked away, but Lisa noticed she didn't head toward her house. Instead, she went to the old Ford sedan parked on the street and pulled out a cell phone. We need to get out of here, Lisa whispered to Marcus. Right now. What? Why? Because I don't think Harold Williams died of a heart attack, and I think Dorothy knows we found something we weren't supposed to find. 20 minutes later, Lisa and Marcus were driving down Interstate 75 in Marcus's pickup truck, the velvet pouch hidden in Lisa's purse. They'd grabbed the table and loaded it into the truck bed, along with Lisa's refinishing supplies. Where are we going? Marcus asked, checking the rearview mirror for the third time in 5 minutes. Columbus. My sister Amy lives there, and she's a journalist. If anyone can help us figure out what this is about, it's her. Lisa pulled out her phone and called Amy's number. Lisa, what's wrong? You sound terrified. Amy, I need your help. Can you research someone for me? David Thompson, probably from Ohio, and anything connected to diamonds or theft from the 1980s. Diamonds? Lisa, what the hell is going on? I'll explain when I see you. Just, please start looking. They drove in tense silence for 30 miles before Marcus spotted the black sedan in his side mirror. Lisa, don't turn around, but I think we're being followed. Lisa glanced at the passenger mirror. 3 cars back, a dark Ford sedan was maintaining their exact speed. It had been there since they'd left Riverside. That's Dorothy's car, Lisa said, her voice tight with fear. Speed up. Marcus pressed the accelerator, weaving between traffic. The sedan followed their every move, keeping pace but not getting closer. They're not trying to catch us, Marcus realized. They're tracking us. They want to see where we're going. Take the next exit, Lisa said. We need to lose them. Marcus took the Highway 23 exit at the last possible second, tires squealing. The sedan couldn't make the turn in time and shot past, but Lisa knew they'd just bought themselves a few minutes. Her phone rang. Amy. Lisa, you need to listen to me very carefully. David Thompson was a federal witness in 1987. He was going to testify against a diamond smuggling ring that operated out of Cleveland. But he disappeared 3 days before the trial, along with millions of dollars worth of evidence diamonds. Evidence diamonds? The FBI was using them to trace the smuggling network. David was supposed to hand them over, but he vanished. The case collapsed without his testimony, and the entire criminal organization got away. Lisa felt sick. Amy, what happened to David? Officially, he's still missing. Unofficially, the FBI assumed he was murdered and the diamonds were gone forever. Who was the main suspect in the smuggling ring? A man named Harold Williams and his wife Dorothy. They were suspected of running the operation, but without David's testimony and the evidence diamonds, the FBI couldn't prove anything. Lisa's blood turned to ice. Amy, Dorothy Williams is my neighbor, and I think we found the diamonds. The line went silent for several seconds. Lisa, where are you right now? Highway 23, heading toward Columbus. Change of plans. Go to the FBI field office in Columbus, right now. And whatever you do, don't go home. The FBI field office in Columbus was an imposing concrete building that looked like a fortress. Lisa and Marcus sat in a sterile conference room, the velvet pouch and Harold's note spread across the table. Special Agent Jennifer Clark examined the diamonds through a jeweler's loupe, while Agent Robert Hayes questioned them about Dorothy Williams. These are definitely part of the missing evidence, Agent Clark confirmed. Each diamond was laser inscribed with a unique FBI tracking number. We've been looking for these for 36 years. What exactly was the smuggling operation? Lisa asked. Agent Hayes leaned back in his chair. Harold and Dorothy Williams ran a sophisticated diamond smuggling network from 1985 to 1987. They used furniture with hidden compartments to move stolen diamonds across state lines. The table you bought was probably one of their transport vehicles. But why did Harold hide them instead of giving them to the smugglers? Based on this note, Agent Clark held up Harold's message. We think Harold was planning to double-cross his partners. He was going to disappear with the diamonds and start a new life. But something went wrong. Dorothy killed him, Lisa said quietly. We believe so. Harold probably told her about his plan, maybe even asked her to come with him. Instead, she killed him and told everyone he had a heart attack. Then she spent the next 36 years looking for those diamonds. Marcus shook his head. But why didn't she just tear the table apart? Because she didn't know which piece of furniture they were hidden in, Agent Hayes explained. Harold was paranoid about his partners finding the diamonds, so he never told anyone where he hid them. Dorothy has probably been searching every piece of furniture from that era for decades. Agent Clark's phone buzzed. She answered it, listened for a moment, then hung up with a grim expression. That was our surveillance team. Dorothy Williams just left her house with 2 other individuals. They're armed and heading this way. How do they know we're here? Lisa asked. They probably followed your phone's GPS signal. Dorothy Williams isn't just a grieving widow, Ms. Martinez. She's the head of a criminal organization that's been dormant for 30 years. And you just woke it up. Agent Hayes stood up. We need to move you to a safe house immediately. But before anyone could move, the lights in the building went out. Emergency lighting kicked in a moment later, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. Through the conference room window, Lisa could see cars pulling into the parking lot. They're here, Agent Clark said, drawing her weapon. Hayes, get them to the safe room. The sound of gunfire erupted from somewhere else in the building. Agent Hayes led Lisa and Marcus through a maze of corridors as gunshots echoed through the building. FBI agents were shouting orders and returning fire, but Dorothy's team had come prepared for a siege. How many people does she have? Marcus asked as they ran. More than we expected, Hayes replied grimly. Dorothy's been planning this for decades. The moment those diamonds surfaced, she activated every contact she had. They reached a reinforced door marked Safe Room, just as the main power came back on. Hayes swiped his key card and ushered them inside. The safe room was like a bank vault, steel walls, no windows, and communication equipment lining one wall. Agent Clark's voice crackled through a radio. Hayes, we've got the building surrounded, but they're not trying to escape. They're trying to get to you. How did they know which room we're in? Dorothy Williams has been watching this building for years. She knows the layout better than some of our own agents. As if to prove Clark's point, they heard the distinctive sound of a shaped charge exploding somewhere nearby. Dorothy's team wasn't just armed, they had military-grade equipment. "There's another way out," Hayes said, opening a panel in the wall. "Service tunnel that leads to the parking garage." But as the panel slid open, Dorothy Williams stepped out of the tunnel, pointing a gun directly at Lisa's chest. She wasn't the frail grandmother from the garage sale anymore. Her eyes were cold, calculating, and absolutely lethal. "Hello again, dear," Dorothy said pleasantly. "I believe you have something that belongs to me." Agent Hayes reached for his weapon, but Dorothy's finger tightened on the trigger. "I wouldn't, Agent Hayes. I've been planning this moment for 36 years. I'm not going to let anything go wrong now." "The diamonds are evidence in a federal case," Hayes said. "Even if you get them back, you'll never be able to sell them." Dorothy laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You think this is about money? This is about justice, Agent Hayes. My husband betrayed me. He was going to run away with another woman, take the diamonds, and leave me to face his criminal partners alone." "So you killed him," Lisa said. "I gave him exactly what he deserved. And then I spent 36 years making sure those diamonds would never see the light of day." "Do you have any idea what it's like to live next door to evidence of your own crime for 4 decades? Watching every FBI raid, every investigation, knowing that discovery was just one accident away?" The sound of approaching sirens filled the air. Dorothy's expression didn't change. "It doesn't matter. I'm 78 years old. I'm not going to prison. And I'm not going to let anyone else profit from Harold's betrayal." She reached into her jacket and pulled out the spray bottle Lisa had seen in the garage. "Concentrated sulfuric acid," Dorothy explained conversationally. "It won't kill you quickly, but it will make sure you never forget this moment." Agent Hayes moved to shield Lisa and Marcus, but Dorothy was faster. She raised the spray bottle, and Agent Clark appeared behind her, pressing a gun to the back of her head. "Drop it, Dorothy." Dorothy Williams smiled one last time. "I told you, Agent Clark, I'm not going to prison." Instead of dropping the acid, she turned the bottle toward her own face and squeezed. 6 months later, Lisa sat in her living room, reading a newspaper article about the conclusion of the Dorothy Williams case. The investigation had uncovered a criminal network that spanned 4 decades and 3 states. Dozens of arrests had been made. Millions of dollars in stolen goods recovered. The diamonds were worth $4.2 million, and the FBI had offered Lisa a substantial reward for their recovery. She'd used the money to start a non-profit organization that helped victims of organized crime. The table sat in her dining room, fully restored to its original beauty. She'd decided to keep the secret compartment intact, but now it held family photos instead of stolen diamonds. Marcus walked in from the kitchen, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Any regrets about moving?" he asked, sitting beside her. They'd left Riverside immediately after Dorothy's death. The house next door had been sold to a young family with 3 kids. Lisa had made sure to introduce herself properly. "No regrets," Lisa said, leaning into his shoulder. "Though I'll never look at garage sales the same way again." "The FBI called while you were at work," Marcus said. "They found David Thompson." Lisa looked up sharply. "Found him? He's alive?" "He's been living in Montana under an assumed name for 36 years. Turns out Harold had warned him that Dorothy was planning to kill them both. David faked his own death and disappeared." "Is he coming forward now?" "He already has. His testimony is going to put away the rest of Dorothy's organization for good." Lisa nodded, feeling a sense of closure she hadn't expected. What about Samantha, the woman Harold mentioned in his note? Marcus smiled sadly. That was Dorothy's real name, Samantha Dorothy Williams. Harold's note wasn't about keeping a promise to someone else. He was telling David that Dorothy had kept her promise to Harold, the promise to kill him if he ever tried to leave her. Lisa shuddered, thinking about all those afternoons she'd waved to the sweet old lady next door, never knowing she was looking at one of the most dangerous criminals in the state. It makes you wonder, she said quietly, how many other secrets are hiding in plain sight? Marcus squeezed her hand. Let's hope we never find out. But even as he said it, Lisa was looking at the antique armoire they'd bought at an estate sale the previous weekend. There was something about the way the bottom drawer stuck that reminded her of. She shook her head, pushing the thought away. Some secrets were better left undiscovered. At least that's what she told herself. This has been another Untold Legends story. Remember, the most extraordinary secrets are often hidden in the most ordinary places. That $20 garage sale find might be worth more than you think, or more dangerous than you can imagine.